Well, welcome to another Sunday night flight with Kazaki Flyer 55. Tonight we're going a little bit GA. We're going to take a little V-tail bonanza up the coast of Oregon and do some sightseeing. It's the middle of the afternoon out there and on the west coast, so we've got plenty of light to see where we're going and see what we're looking at. But I figured we'd just take a sightseeing trip today and we'd play a few tunes and enjoy the scenery up here along the Pacific Coast Highway. I've actually been up here when I was very, very small, so I don't remember much except for the rocks just off the beach. Yep, let's get into our aircraft here. Tonight's, like I said, tonight's aircraft is a V-tail bonanza. Our avatar tonight is going to be can-do because we didn't want to take a military pilot on a civilian flight. So we need to at least start getting warmed up here and getting everything on the road. There we go. Get our chair situated here. Feet up on the pedals. Okay, now we can get our head down in the cockpit here. Let's remove our yoke for just a minute. Check it. It does move. Okay, first things first, we want our battery and our alternator. Battery alternator. Go ahead and we want to turn on our beacon and our nav lights. We'll go ahead and cut in our taxiway lights. And cut in the pitot heat. And because we're on the ground here, and it's approximately 65 degrees, we're going to turn our fuel pump to on. Prop to full forward, mixture rich. Just a little bit of throttle. And crank our magnetos over. Left, right, both. And we're ready all around. Lean out the window here. And tell everybody, clear prop. And we have a start. Go ahead and close the window. And now that our engine's running, we can cut in our avionics. We're going to leave our fuel pump on while we're on the ground here. Avionics are now on and functioning. And we need to at least see if we can get, if there's a VOR at our first location. There is. VOR ONP at 117.1. So we can tune that in. Okay. push. 116, 117. Come on, one more. There it is. Switch. And our VOR2, we're going to switch it. 117.1, switch. Okay, we are on the left tank. Maybe I'm getting where I need more, better new glasses again. Well, let's see. We don't want to go 1,000 feet. We'll try an initial altitude of 800. Okay, well, our engine's up and running. Our VORs are tuned in. And our course is approximately north. We'll fine-tune that here in a bit. What we need now is a map of our airport here. We'll call that up. Paper maps. How quaint. Okay, the taxiway runs the entire end of the direct airport here. Winds are 220 at 3 knots. So we're going to want to use runway 34. Or actually, I'd say let's use 16. So that's a left turn, and take the taxiway to taxiway Alpha and proceed up till runway 16. So that's a left turn. So first off, let's cut the brakes out. Brakes released. Let's see, get the external view so we can kind of see where we're going here. Throttle coming in. Starting to move. Check our brakes. Yep, brakes work. Let's keep on moving here. Okay, there's the taxiway. Another Bonanza popping in. Bonanzas are always welcome. Now, we're going to try for a 150 knot airspeed indicated all the way up the coast, which should give us a little bit more ground speed, but you never know how it's going to go when you're up in the air. Okay, we'll come up to the hold short line. And stop. And hold short here for just a second. Jump back in the cockpit here. Taxi light off, landing light on. Strobes are now on. Okay, I think we're ready. We've got our flight plan loaded in. Let's try this thing. Now, just because the weather is sunny here at the moment doesn't mean it's going to last that way all the way up the coast. This is the northwest coast of the United States. Okay, we're now on runway 116 on the active. Look left, clear there. Right's clear. I see Colonel Fork out there. I'm glad he's popped in for today. It's not my usual warbird for today, but I've just felt in a little mood for some GA action. Some GA that wasn't going to an air show somewhere. Okay. We'll hold here for just a second. Give our companions a little time to get their engines up and running and taxi this way. The beacons are lit, and Gondor calls for aid. Okay. Yeah. We'll see you in the air as we head up the coast. I'll do an orbit around the field here, or try to. Power coming in. Better have it full power. A little bit of a crosswind. Not much. 60 knots. Getting light. And we're airborne. Gear coming up. And because of the coastline, we're going to immediately start a right-hand pattern. Backing off on our manifold pressure and our RPMs. We're right at 1,000 feet here. This is a beautiful part of the coast. Okay. Coming around to the right again. Resisting the temptation of the bridge. See Colonel Fork at the end of 3-4 down there. We're going to try not to bump into this hill up here. We're doing approximately 135 knots at the moment, which is fast enough to avoid stalling, but slow enough to let our friends catch up. Just come around to the right here. Try to make a nice coordinated turn. Do some trimming here. Let's go into another right-hand orbit around the airfield. And try to stay clear of the trees. And Colonel Fork is on the roll down there at the airport. Okay, we're at 1,000 feet. We'll just hold it here. Continue our right-hand turn around the airport. Climbing a little bit. Want to fight that down. A little bit of down trim. There, that's nice and steady. AP on, heading engage. Altitude engage. Come out to sea a little bit. Approximately 340. And now we can troll our way up the coast here. Hey, we're doing 140 indicated at the moment. We're just going to hold that. And we're just going to follow our coast along for a while here. Okay, there's my altitude hold coming on. Take my feet off the pedals for a second so I can reach over here and adjust my heading back to north. Follow the coast a little bit. All right. Let's see, want to bring our power back in just a touch. A little bit more manifold pressure. There's our EGT coming in. There's peak. So we're consuming about 12 gallons an hour. Now I want to turn my NDB on. But apparently the in-server or in-sim VOR doesn't reach this far. That's because it's the Newport VOR. It says it's 195 mile VOR, so it should reach 117.1. We just don't have enough altitude to see it, I guess. Okay, there, now I can hear things. Spent a lot of time trying to get the system to work on the sounds, and then I couldn't hear it. Of course, it's a small plane. It doesn't make a lot of sound. Back to about 340. Push another couple of buttons here. Find a pop-up. Hey, we're going to try that. That rock's sticking up pretty high. And we'll miss it, at least. That hill up ahead of us, though, is taller than we are. So we're just going to head a little bit more out to sea and avoid it. Approximately 300 degrees to avoid our mountain and proceed on up the coast. Because that's what we're here to look at, is the Oregon coast. See, reach over here and push some buttons. Don't lose track of what we're doing here. That mountain's getting awful close. Now come around the corner of the bay and straighten our course out a little bit. And for a second there, I thought Colonel Fork was leaving a contrail at 6,500 feet. It's like, no, that's somebody else. Let's bring our course heading back onto course a little bit closer to the beach here. We don't want to miss the scenery here. That's pretty down there. Don't know why there's a pier out to that rock, but we'll take it. And we come back to about 340 here. Don't want to head out over this ocean. It's the Pacific, which means it's going to be kind of unpredictable. About 145. Boost a little bit more manifold pressure, please. About. Don't want to be like some of our friends and miscalculate our travel times here. We'll just take a short cut over the forest. It's good to see the trees are starting to change color here. It's not quite full fall yet. It is hard to beat the northwestern United States for scenery. But one thing, you better like green. Ooh, we picked up a tailwind somewhere. We went from 140 to 160. Let's pull that power back. Ooh, that is an airport down there. It's not just a wide spot in the road. Okay, can you hold us at about 150 there, buddy? Our ground speed is, must be fighting a headwind. Ground speed's down to 136 knots. But our indicated is right at a 150. A little bit more power then. Not too much. We're running about 2,300 RPM here. Oil's good. Cylinder temperature's good. Amps are good. Oil pressure is good. I'd say it's just another flight in the Doctor Killer. Now, one thing that is missing is the coastal highway. Got a nice river here, but no coastal highway. Beautiful beach, though. It is a beach over a beach. How about that? Okay, holding at 1,000 feet. Fuel flows come up to 14 gallons per hour. Speaking of which, we're a quarter tank down in the left-hand side. So let's switch to the right. There's a switch to the right. Which sometimes doesn't always work out so well. Because we're doing it by mouse instead of by hand. The clouds are starting to pile in on us. And we've got 95 miles to go. Well, 93 now. And our first stop of the day is KONP. Kilo Oscar November Papa. We'll stop there, grab some gas, and head on up the coast to Astoria at Kilo Alpha Sierra Tango. Now, my bad vision. I'm going to read it off the paper map here. Okay, the airport we just flew over was Sierra Oscar 5. Or Sierra 05, I should say. That's a 0, not an Oscar. And we still haven't come within picking up our DME yet. Just not high enough. And since we're VFR, let's hope the clouds don't get too thick, because we're going to have to stay under them. And that might get hairy. But then this is the northwest coast of the United States, so no surprises. Don't like the weather? Wait 5 minutes, it'll change. So, of course, there's a cell phone tower out here in the middle of nowhere. How else is everybody going to get on their phone? I'm going to cut back a little bit inland, because that hill might rise up pretty close to our altitude. It's not so tall inland, but out toward the coast it gets up there. Nope, we're not picking it up on nav 2 either. I figure we probably won't pick it up until we're quite a bit closer to the VOR station. Though Colonel Fork might be picking it up at his altitude. And here come the trees. Okay, little airplane, don't kill me. I'm not a doctor. Airplane's going, I'm not going to kill you unless you do something really stupid, which you are known to do. And speaking of things, our phone chiming. Go away, phone. So I'm streaming. This is my time away from the phone. Ooh, what a beautiful spot for a marina. Pretty little town nestled on the coast here, next to an inlet. Okay, we're starting to pick up cloud. $800 feet. Arm. Engage. Take us down to 800. Let's see if we can get under this. I don't think it's very thick. I think Colonel Fork might be above it. But if we're above it, we can't see the terrain. We can't see the scenery. And I don't want to come off alive here. But this is nice weather. And the cloud cover just keeps getting thicker and thicker. Okay, there's KOTH, Kilo Oscar Tango Hotel. If we need to make a ditch or make an emergency pit stop, we know we can come back here. Visibility is at least high enough to make a landing here. Lots of sand dunes up here. believe it's a national reserve, or I don't know if it's a state park or national reserve. Oregon Dunes National Recreation Area. I'd want to promote it too, I guess. Yeah, I figured that's what the weather would be like. I've seen the tops of the Golden Gate Bridge poking through the inversion layer over at San Francisco quite a bit, so I didn't figure the clouds would be too thick. But being patchy, it's hard to find a hole to pop up in. If I need to, I can always go out over the ocean. I know I've got 800 feet of altitude over that. Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, this would be a good spot for four-wheeling. And there's a lot of dunes here. If it wasn't so cold, I'd say quite a bit of, this would be great for turtles. As long as we just watch our altitude and stay away from the hills, we should be good. Radio antenna on top of a hill. Still no NBB. I guess a bit to the left here. Due north. That's some sand. With that much sand, let's make some movies. Let's come up here and make some desert movies. And not have to go through 120-degree heat to do it. Okay, this is where things are going to start to get a little fancy. The terrain map is still showing we're above the tree line. No point in getting too close. Yeah. 1,700. But is it worth going IFR to pop through? Ah, there's our DME. 55 miles out, now it pops in. Okay, approximately 352 to the VOR. Which we're already pushed about on. Tune our CDI. And just stay over the beach. Something happens to the airplane, we got a nice, wide, soft place to land. Well, I can already tell I'm going to need a bio break when we get to Kilo Oscar November Papa. We can do that while they're refueling the aircraft. Of course, we're only down a quarter in each tank, so that we've got plenty of fuel. We've got more than enough to actually get to where we're going. But, we'll just call it renewable fuel like they did at Goodwood this weekend. That was some good driving with some classic cars. It's nice to see that much money rolling around at high speed. And Colonel Fork's descending, so he's either coming into the cloud deck or he's almost to the airport. Ooh, that's a pretty lake. That's a tall sand dune. Those clouds are closing in. The weather station lied. It is not 1,700 feet. Let's see what ONP is reading now. Florence is closer. 6 Sierra 2. Limited IFR. 350 at 13 knots. Visibility still 10 statute miles. Overcast at 400 feet. I can believe that. We're at 800 and it's closing in sharp. We're going to call up Portland Center and request they change our flight plan to a IFR at this time. And hope our license covers it. Which is why you should always have a backup airport close by that you can know you can get to in VFR conditions. Because I do not think we will find the airport at Florence, Oregon, in this soup, unless we fly right over it. How far? Okay, 3 miles. And it has just gone IFR. Although the ceiling is going up. Overcast at 600 feet now. Well, we've got 36 miles to go. We're going to plow through this murk and see if we can get to our airfield. If we can't, we'll circle back over the ocean and come back to this airfield here at 6 Sierra 2. That's where Colonel Fork has landed. He may have done the smart thing. It's definitely the wise thing. Now it says the coast highway's down there, but I don't see it. We are 34 miles from the airport, where our destination. It's getting murky. Hey, come on, KONP, give me a better METAR than back there at Florence. Hey, limited IFR. Overcast at 300. 10 statute mile visibility. 340 at 10 knots, gusting to 16. Oh boy. It's going to get interesting. It looks like the beach is running out. We are coming into some rocky terrain. So instead of over the beach, we're now going over the water. So everybody remember where your sandwiches are and hope you brought a life vest. And stay clear of the mountain. Okay, the altitude at Newport is 149 feet for the airport. I'm going to find it first. Well, the blessing is it's only 39 miles and it is covered by the VORs. So all we need to do is fly the reverse from on our VORs and it'll take us back down to Florence Municipal down there at 6 Sierra 2. We'd have to just make a left turn out over the ocean and fly the from. And I wanted to take folks on a scenic tour. Boy, did we go on a scenic tour. Look at that. Whoosh. Oh, temporary reprieve in visibility. Okay, 22 nautical miles out of ONP. And Oregon is sure living up to its reputation. There's the coastal highway. Like I said, this isn't the brightest move we've ever made, but right, let's plow on in. "20 miles out, VOR is changing. We're still we're pointed a little bit away from the VOR, but we don't want to hit a rock. Spittooned on both navs. And lined up. We've dodged the hills for a minute. Now let's head a little bit back closer to shore here. We're 17 miles out of ONP. It's going to be a fun trip up to Astoria on the last leg. Bit of stutter there. All this soup down here to know that just a couple thousand feet up, it's clear blue sky. But then that's Oregon. It's Oregon, Seattle, Northern California. That whole stretch. Just grateful visibility has improved a little bit. Somebody's way up there. We'll just try to stay close to the highway here. It should take us right into ONP. That makes a little dog leg over the bay here, and then it'll pick it back up on the other side. And there's the bridge. That bridge has a big "no, not flyable" sign on it. I might try it in my Hurricane, but I'm not trying it in this Beach Bonanza. I wondered, if you're killed by a V-tail, does that make you a doctor? Here comes the weather again. We're set 8 miles out. Excuse the coughing. Can we see the highway down there? Yep, there it is. Hiding in the trees. Well, we're 6 miles. Let's switch back to the left tank now. Left tank. Uh, 3 miles. And we have the airport beacon in sight. Okay, my airplane. And there's the airport. Let us take a quick look at the winds. Winds 330 at 9, so 34, which we are just passing over. Well, I'm going to take a left turn and make a circle. Cut the throttle back. Try to keep from climbing too much or descending too much. All right, there. Okay, downwind. Drop the gear. One notch of flaps, please. Bring some power back in. Okay, 600 feet. Descending. And there's the airport. Let's fly a little bit closer to true north. There we go. Almost. Turning on our short final. Trying to avoid the trees. Okay, it says we're too high. Cut the throttles. Pick our landing spot. Float. And down. Stay on the runway. Coordinate this darn foot. Okay, turn off. Find a good spot on the taxiway here. Here comes Colonel Fork on 3-4. See the cross one right here, but I do not see the facilities. Well, we are unfamiliar with this airport, so we will dig out a chart. Okay. We want to come up here to this taxiway and turn left. Back taxi down this runway. Then there's a taxiway just down the road just a little bit. And that's where the facilities are. There's a taxiway. Try not to hit the cars. And the fuel is way down there. Stay on the pavement. Okay, that's not fair. We'll try to do this the paved way. And they have to drive through a truck. All right, here we go. Now, sharpish. No, not through the truck. We just have to drive around the truck. And Colonel Fork made the easy run. I got lost in the traffic. Fuel, please. Thank you. Now, let's make some room. Not much room here. Now we've got room. Now let's look at our map and see where we're at. And how to get back to 3-4. Okay, Colonel Fork had the right idea. So follow that bird. Flaps retracted. Leave a black mark on the pavement. And it's just a straight shot from here up to Astoria. And we're going to set the parking brake up here at the hold short line and take a short bio break. There's parking brake set. Some buttons pushed. And we'll be back in a second. Oh, that was a nice quick bio break. And a much needed one, too. Just barely limped in there in time. Now it's struggled to get the chair back in place. Never seems to want to fit in the same spot twice. And feet up on the pedals. Good. All right. Okay, we're about ready to clear chocks here. Well, I've got a couple of minutes on the ground. No, I haven't gotten lost. Just feels like it. Okay. Knock the microphone around a bit. Well, let's dig out our charts. And the VOR for Astoria is at 95 miles away. It's the AST 1.1 or 114.0. It says it's a 60 nautical mile range VOR, so we won't pick it up too quickly. One 114.0. One 114 on V2. 0.0. Which. All right. Now, VO. And thank you for zapping that guy. Colonel Fork, appreciated. Bots, they're everywhere. As much fun as some of them can be, they're not worth the effort. Brakes released. Come on, let's get over here onto the from the taxiway onto the runway. And now we're lined up on runway 34. And taking off into the murk to head for our story. This will probably be an IFR flight. Power coming in. A little bit of crosswind. 60 knots. And there we go. Gear coming up. Ka-thunk. There. Okay. $600 and we're back up in the murk. Get thee behind me, Satan, and stay away from the bridge. Let's find our coastline again. Okay, we're going to come down to 700 feet here, or try to. How to manage our speed. There, we're kind of under the murk. And Colonel Fork is going over the stuff. Smart move. We're going to try to fight it out down here. $80 miles of this. Ooh, boy. This might be a run for a chopper. If it wasn't so far between airports. Make shorter hops. Make this a fun flight. Okay, let's keep it out over the water here. Or at least as best we can. Yeah, this is actually a whole. This is part of a whole song. It's not just good and cool intro music. Let's come back to a more northerly heading. The coast does dodge and duck in and out here. See some sailboats up ahead. Hope these guys are anchored. I'd want to tuck in behind the point there and get into more sheltered harbor. But then I'm not a sea captain. I don't know. Ooh, sunshine. All right. Put some power back in. Bring us up to at least 140 knots. Okay. Got our peak mixture performance. Just looking ahead on the other end of the beach there. More hills. I see an airport beacon off to our right. That is Sierra 45. I believe we've been found. At least for the moment, we've got a Navy escort. That's awesome. It's nice to be able to just leave her on course for a minute. Eventually, we'll have to dodge that mountain. But we'll wait until we're closer. Looks like down at Malibu down there. All the houses are up on the cliff top, and the beach is 100 feet below. Horrible mudslide country. I'll tell you what it is. It's good sea otter country. And that was one thing when I was out in Frisco. I saw some seals and those kind of animals, but I never saw a sea otter. I wish I had. Of course, back then they were very much scarcer than they are now. Okay, just start heading back out to sea a bit. Avoid the hills. Stutter. Yeah, that'll rubber band you. So we got to draw scenery. We'll see if they can get the multiplayer right in 2024. Coming around the hill up here. Man, that's pretty. Even with the rubber banding, that's gorgeous. Look at the shadows on the hill. Man, that's awesome. Okay, back over toward the beach. Man, I am really loving this coastline. Hills, forest, rocks, sand, and everything. Thank you, Colonel Fork. Now that's the kind of feedback I like. Let me see if I can. How about that? Is that a little bit softer? If they would all record at the same level, it would be easy. I'm just tickled. I finally got my mic to work well. And actually have some engine sounds for a change, even if they're soft. If I pull them up too far, I get echo. Hey, we're down an eighth of a tank on the left side. We'll stay holding that for a little bit longer, and then we'll switch to the right tank. Okay, we're passing that airport in that valley. There's the airport right down there. And that was Kilo Papa, Foxtrot Charlie, KPFC. That was a private first class airport. Okay, it looks like we'll have to go around the promontory up here, or we can climb over. Let's try climbing over. I think we're clear of clouds for the moment. Arm. Take us up at 500 feet a minute. Take us up to about 1,000 feet. Okay, we're starting to get a VOR signal at 54 miles. VOR is right at 350 degrees. Got nav 1 and nav 2 tuned to it. Okay, let's take her a little bit more to the left. And try to fly through the saddle up there. We're right at 150 indicated. "51 nautical miles to Astoria." And it's just too much to ask for that the weather would stay this nice all the way to Astoria. We'll clear those trees. Let's see what. There's a low little island up there. Probably some rocks sticking out into the bay. Here we go. Adjust our course again. Okay, our VOR is now at about 352. We definitely have to fly over these rocks up here. Well, that's nice. You get beach and cliff. That would be the ultimate scenery challenge. Do the whole Oregon coast. Because you have to drive the coastal highway up here to believe the spectacular beauty of this place. Overflying some rocks now. And the Navy's still with us. That's good to see. And Colonel Forks got the top cover at 4,500 feet. Hopefully above these clouds. Let's check the Astoria METAR. Okay, S37's METAR is 320 at 10 knots, 10 statute miles, broken at 1,600. Astoria is 270 at 4 knots, 10 statute miles, overcast at 15, 18/16. And the Barometric pressure is 2993. Modified VFR. We'll take that. Current wind prefers runway 26. I'm just glad that we can see this much and we're out of the clouds at 1,000 feet. Those extra 300 feet make a big difference. There. Push some buttons so I won't have to push them later. Now we could probably cut across this valley here. Ding, ding, ding. Course change to 025. Over there where Space Things is at his Cessna Caravan. He just happens to be way much higher than we are. Yeah, 109.5 for the localizer on runway 26. Thank you, Colonel Fork. If it's really socked in, we'll be using the ILS, but otherwise, we're just going to make a visual approach. Now, I just hope this ridge isn't going to take us too far off our course. We're at least pointed to the right at the saddle and the ridge up there. Yeah, this may be a mistake going inland like this, but let's just look at the scenery better. When in doubt, climb out. And what's nice about the Bonanza, you can do it. Lots of forest. Somebody up there at 30,000 feet leaving a nice contrail. And we don't want to get too far off course here. It's 22 miles to Astoria. Uh-oh, stutter. And you come back. Yay. Couple more degrees to the right here, so that the terrain doesn't come up to meet us. That's looking awful iffy. We can clear that hilltop, that range right up there, that hill we've made. He's going to be close. Pull the twigs out of our landing gear. Now we turn left. Okay. And it's got us pointed back toward the coast. Oh man, that's close. That's real close. I thought I was going to have to abort there for a minute. Now we're getting a little bit of clearance. 16 miles to Astoria. We need to be following this river back down. I wanted to get lost in the woods, but this is going a little bit too far. Okay, we could come around this hill and turn back to the right. Okay. If we can ever get out of these hills, we got 15 miles to go. There's what looks like a way out. I see ocean anyway. And just like that, boink, we're out of the woods. And we came really close to the trees, but we didn't have to climb. Now the clouds are looking awful gray up here. We may have to descend to stay under them. Of course, it did say the ceiling was 1,300 feet, which is 300 feet over us. See if their METAR is updated in the last few minutes. 250 at 5 knots, 10 statute miles, overcast at 1,600 feet. Moderate VFR conditions. That one's at 9:01, September 9th at 015 Zulu, 155 Zulu. So that's not very old. There's an airport under us. See, that one is Seaside Municipal, 5-6 Sierra. There's the coast highway widening out a bit. Eight miles to Astoria. You can see the bay. And 350 should put us right on top of the runway. There's our feet back up on the pedals. Okay, 2.6 is going to be offset, so that's off to our right. Oops. Give us a change of course here. Change our heading. 4 miles to the airport. It's just on the other side of this hill. Okay, visibility ain't so bad here. Okay, there's runway 32 off to our left. Start bringing our power back. And we're entering the pattern. And Kapustik and Colonel Fork have gone out and probably done the smart thing and made a wide circle. Our gear's coming down, I hope. Yep. Speed still dropping. Under knots. Extend flaps. Start our turn. Make our base. Keep descending. Keep coming around. There's 300. There's the runway. We've gone a little bit past, but we'll swing back around here. Nice visual approach here. Okay, 300 feet. Over the lights. Watch out for the tree. power back. Just let her float down. Oh, nice. And we're clear of the runway. Left turn coming up. Ooh, they've got everything here at Astoria. Helicopters. Little short hopper airlines. Quite a few general aviation aircraft. A DA-62. Couple of Cessnas. It's like 3 or 4 Cessnas. We'll park up next to the Cessna here. Okay, and welcome to Astoria. Set our brake. There's Kapustik in their Corsair. And Colonel Fork is on approach. We'll wait for Colonel Fork to make his landing. Meanwhile, landing light off. Nav or strobe lights off. Pitot heat off. Mixture off. And alternator and battery. And open the door. USS Valley Forge. Wrong button. There's the button we wanted. We can see Colonel Fork's lights. (1,300 feet), well established on the glide slope. Okay, there we go. And he's coming in good. And all the other traffic is well clear and at altitude behind him. This is going to be a nice smooth landing. (50 feet). And he's down. Welcome to Astoria, Colonel Fork. And thank you for coming along on tonight's journey. Sometimes you just gotta bust out the general aviation and enjoy the scenery. As much as I like my warbirds, GA is just as fun. So Kapustik and Colonel Fork, appreciate you flying along with us tonight as we've journeyed up the beautiful coast of Oregon in all kinds of really strange weather. But it's typical weather for the northwest coast of the United States. It's nice that there's plenty of parking here, even with all the other stuff. I can't tell whether this is a bespoke airport that we got with the sim or if it's one of the multitude of download sceneries I've picked up. Everybody's at least on the same level here, so that's at least showing that it's probably bespoke. So I'm going to take pink area. Uh-oh. That's bad textures somewhere. And I've been getting them on my taxiway lights recently. Those little pink areas where it doesn't have the texture right. Behind the main hangers, sure. Need to see what's over here anyway, besides a car park. Okay, several helipads. Some luggage carts. Somebody else's flight school. And there's a 152 down here. Definitely rental hangars down here. Yeah, that's what we're for, is to find out what's screwy and what isn't. Better to find out now than later when you're doing your own stream or when you're with your other buddies and really need to make it stick. I'm just glad I've got legends to fly with. And that actually take their time out of a Sunday night and want to fly with me too. That just looks so cool with that Corsair in between the two Bonanzas. That is just awesome. Then we've got all the Cessnas parked here and the DA-62 and the Caravan. That's gorgeous. Okay. I'll push the screenshot button again. That's just too cool. Well, that's our really conclusion of our flight for tonight. It's taken us 2.5 hours to get here, which is a little bit longer than normal, but still pretty good, I guess. Now, let me look and see who's up. Raleigh Mal's up. Should we raid Raleigh Mal? Let's see. Click. Okay. There he is. Well, I'm going to set me up for the closure here. So thank you for coming along, and everybody have a good night. And we're going to raid Raleigh Mall.